Greetings and welcome back to Switch to Linux. Well, today we're going to spend a little bit of time looking at how to install Linux on a USB drive. So yesterday I talked about the difference between running a USB key as a live key versus installing. Today we're actually going to install because I've actually needed to create a new banking computer. You guys, if you followed my channel for a long time, you know that a while back I put together a video about how to create a very separate banking computer to run just off of a USB key. And that's still the same one I'm running, but it's getting old. It's based on the old Ubuntu, and I really don't like it very much. And of course, after running a USB drive, Linux on a USB drive for a while, it does start to not work as well after a bit of time. So we are going to create a new one. I bought myself a little SanDisk USB drive here. So that's what we are going to do. Is we are going to go ahead and put that. Put Peppermint on that system there. So that's what we're doing today. So how is everybody? All right, let me go ahead and have a look at our comments, pull those up. I'm just trying to think if I have something set correctly. I don't know, we'll figure it out. All right, but anyway, let's see. Hello, Anonymous Linux Nerd. How's it going there? Is it Gooin Earth? Hello there. When another obscure Linux distro dies and nobody cares. Yep. Jokingly call Linux Mint Ubuntu. There you go. Yeah, we need a cinnamon version. You know, I don't know why, but oh well. Mr. X, how's it going there? DeviantOS, hello to you. And Meow. Tokyo Adventure, you've already learned how to do this. That's all right. We have Small Armageddon. Yeah, Google, like, everyone's giving... It's like, I don't know if America realizes this, but China does hold most of our debts. And if we completely kill their business end and, like, get the whole world against Huawei and Huawei dies, China might just say, pay us back now. We'll take Texas, California. They can have California. Maybe California, maybe Philadelphia. I don't know. Give them out. That's interesting. And I don't know. I don't follow all of the hardware build as much, but I think that there's more of a witch hunt against Huawei than anything real serious. You know, they talk about what the government can do. Yeah, look what our government can do. I mean, Anyway, Loopy's on. Greetings, and it's the final countdown. Here's a copy claim. Never mind. All right. Hello, Paul. How's it going there to you? Intel's recommendation. Yeah, new security issues. Intel. We're going to secure it by disabling hyperthreading. Oh, you bought the thing for hyperthreading? Sorry. All right. But anyway. Let's see. There's DeviantOS has hooray. Kitty, yes. Kitty looks very ambitious today. Newbie time on STL. Greetings. CJ looks cute. Yes. Snap is here with the banana. Greetings, Banana Man. Todd Bentley, still love your car. How's it going there? What about the USA having a lot of debt in China? Didn't consider that yet in regard to the Huawei witch hunt. Yep. That's true. You know, and if there's a lot of like actual real evidence, I haven't seen it. In all fairness, I haven't been hunting for it either, but is what it is, I guess. All right. So let's go ahead and jump on in here. Let's see, where are we at? All right, we are doing pretty good. All right. So part one of our discussions today, we're going to be talking about installing Linux on a USB drive. So let's go ahead and I'm going to grab this guy. We're going to drop a link right in here. This is the drive we're going to be using from Amazon. This is a SanDisk 32 gigabyte 3.1 flash drive. Of course, if you need more memory, get a bigger flash drive. Mine runs perfectly fine on 16. It's just I couldn't find a 16. This is the smallest one that I could find. All right, so let's go ahead and get started here. Welcome back to Switch to Linux. Well, the other day I did a video about the difference between a USB live key and installing Linux directly to a USB drive. And today we're going to take this a step further, and we are going to take a brand new USB drive and we are going to install Linux on it. So I'm going to go ahead and open this guy up. This is a SanDisk Ultra Fit USB 3.1 32 gigabyte flash drive. So that's what we got. Let's go ahead and just pull this guy out. And there will be a link to this guy in the comments down below. So here we are. Let's see, do we have a... There we are. Oh, man. They are really making these things cheap these days, man. I have some older models of these. They actually have a cover to go on them. Man, these things are getting cheap. Everything's getting cheap quality. Anyway, well, whatever. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to install Linux on this guy. So what I'm going to go with is we're going to use Peppermint this time. Now, my last build was using Ubuntu. I went with Ubuntu to have the most streamlined system that I could find. I really have not liked Ubuntu. I find that it not only does it look old, it also feels old. There's no search from the menu, things like that. Now, in the modern version of Ubuntu, they have fixed a lot of those things. But still, I'm not a huge fan of Ubuntu. Peppermint, though, has come a long way, especially the latest version, Peppermint 10, comes with a nice feature that I want to use. So what they do is Peppermint uses these ICE applications, and inside of these ICE applications, then what you will be able to do is set up one of these for each of the bank accounts that I have, and then it creates an isolated user profile, which means that the cookies that are tracked and stored on one banking system cannot be seen by anything else that I do on the computer. Now, this is important because, unfortunately, even though the best ultimately security and privacy is to completely disable cookies, you generally cannot do that if you're accessing something like a bank account at a typical bank. And so what we're going to do is create a drive that anytime I need to access any of my banking or budgets or any financial data, I also keep a master list of my passwords on these as well, because we're going to take this little drive, we're going to completely encrypt it with Lux, and then we're going to install Linux on it. So what we need to do is we generally either need 2 USB drives, one to burn the ISO, boot the system, and then the second one to actually install it. Now, what we're doing in this case is we're going to be using Virtual Machine for this instead, because you can do the same thing with Virtual Machine. Now, to understand the booting process of a computer, we're going to go, and this is from neosmart.net. We're going to be looking at this website here. And what's going on here is when you turn on a computer, the first thing that happens is you have the BIOS goes on the computer. So the basic input-output system. So what's going to happen here is when you turn this on, this does some initialization of some basic hardware. And then this will basically turn on your USB ports, it turns on some networking cards, a few other functions. And then this goes in and it finds the master boot record, which calls up an application that's going to boot up a bootloader. The bootloader then calls the operating system. All right, so that's kind of what we're going to be looking at. So what we want to make sure that we do is the most critical step is to make sure that the bootloader is installed on this USB drive. The easiest way to do that, make sure this is the only disk in your system. All right, so I built this computer to easily install applications by having I basically do it by having a IC dock in here. So I can just pull the drives out or just hit the power button and the power goes to the drive so the computer doesn't see that the drive is actually there. All right, so what we're going to do in this case is we are going to boot up a virtual machine. And inside of virtual machine, we're going to create a machine to get this turned on. Now, you do need to make sure that you have extensions installed, which I believe is under, I think it's under File and under Preferences. And there is this tag down here called Extensions. You need to make sure that you have your VirtualBox extension pack. This is what you need to enable USB 3 support. Okay, so now I can actually pick one of my other machines here, or if I really want to, then I could just create a new machine. Now, if I'm picking another one of these machines, I want to make sure that I'm not actually going to be using the hard drive. So I'd either have to delete the hard drive controller or delete the disk from it so it doesn't see that there's actually a hard drive there. We're just going to go ahead and create a new machine. Let's just call this USB install. And we're going to go under type. I'm going to pick Linux. And since Peppermint is based on Ubuntu, we're just going to go with our Ubuntu 16.04. We're going to go ahead and hit next. This is the memory size. How much memory do you want? This guy here's got a lot of RAM, so I'm just going to go with 6. That's probably overkill. I think 2 or 4 would probably be sufficient, but we're going to go ahead and do that. In this case here, we are not going to add a virtual hard disk because I don't want it to try and install my grub menu to the hard drive instead of that. And that's where your first mistake is going to be, is if you're installing one of these and you already have a hard drive, is it's going to add the system boot to the grub on the first drive by default. Now, some of your Linux installers will have the ability to select where the bootloader goes to. Some of them don't have that, and it just automatically drops it at the first disk. That's what we want to avoid. So by making sure we don't have any other disks in the system, that's exactly what we want to do. So let's go ahead and hit create. So now we're going to hit continue to create my new machine. So here's our USB install. I'm going to go into settings, and there's just a few other things that I'm going to want to tweak about it. So first, under our processor, I'm going to give this guy, let's give this guy 4 processing cores. Under our display, I'm going to max this out. Now, if I were going to be using this for anything more than a simple install, I'd want to max this out to 256, which unfortunately you can't do here. You have to go into the terminal and do that. We're going to enable 3D. So here we have a CD drive, but we do not have any hard drives attached. Audio, don't care about. Network is just attached. And then serial ports, don't need to worry about that. So now USB, this is where I need to make sure I have USB 3 attached. Now, occasionally having USB 3 enabled will prevent the virtual machine from booting. It's kind of like a roll of the dice. So if for some reason the machine doesn't boot, that's probably why. I'll just shut it down and try it again. All right, so I don't really need to mess with anything else. So let's just go ahead and push OK. It's going to save those. So now what we are going to do is I'm going to go into my optical drive. I'm going to install, basically put Peppermint in. So this is effectively like having a copy of my Peppermint installation and putting it in a CD drive. And now I'm going to boot this guy up, and then it's going to boot into our Peppermint installation. Now here we have the ability to try or install. I'm just going to go ahead and hit try. And while we're doing this, I'm going to be right back because I need to plug this USB drive in, and I forgot to open up a port. Give me a second. All right, so I plugged this guy in. Oh, look, they gave me a bunch of crap on here. Delete you. All right, so that means that it booted into my host operating system, not my guest operating system. To get it into our guest operating system, I'm going to pull up our panel that's down here, and under Devices, USB, I'm going to find this guy, which is the SanDisk Ultra Fit. We're going to set this in here, and now you heard the noise that fell off of my host system, and it is now attached over here on our guest system. All right, so first thing we're going to do, let's see if I can remember, I think it's xrand-r. Dope. Did I get that wrong? I forget the command off the top. That one's supposed to be the command to get us a full screen. That's all right. We'll do it another way. Let's go with display. Every now and again, I forget my terminal commands. Oh, we're going to have one of those things, aren't we? Where it doesn't want to boot the display up. Yeah, I got to remember that. All right, and too bad my comments are buried behind there. So I'm sure that somebody will tell me what the actual command is, but I thought it was xrandr. Oh well. Anyway, we'll not worry about it. What we're going to do now is we're just going to go ahead and install Peppermint. Okay, so on our installation here, this is just walking us through kind of some of the basics. We're just going to start by selecting the keyboard, the language layouts, and then here, I want to go with the minimal installation. Now on Peppermint, it really doesn't make a lot of difference. We will download updates, and we are going to install anything third party. In this case, actually, we're not going to do that. Nah, we will, just in case I need graphic drivers or anything else like that. So I'll hit continue. Yeah, xrandr. Let me try that again. I got confirmation in there. Should be 1920 by 1080. Really? Unrecognized option. Let me give me help there. $1920 by 1080. It's an option. Yeah, for whatever reason, I'm not remembering how to get my options running. So, oh, that's right. .s. This is what happens when I don't use it's .s. Thank you. 1920 by 1080. There it is. Thank you, guys. All right. Just forgot my S. All right, so now it says installer detected the following disks have mounted partitions. Do you want to try and unmount those? So this is actually the disk we're trying to install, so we're going to unmount it. That happened because I showed you that it was connected over here. Now this step here, we want to erase and install, which is exactly what we're going to do. We're going to erase the system here. Now, very important, we want to encrypt the new one. Okay, because this is a little banking system, it's going to contain a password list. And what we're going to do here is we're going to encrypt this. So if anybody does get their hands on it, they're not going to be able to get this installed. So go ahead and hit install now. And it asks us to create a security key. And since this is actually going to be a production, I'm going to hide my screen for you guys for a second. Okay, we're going to hit the install now. And then we're not overwriting empty disk space because that will take just about forever. And it was simply a blank drive as it was out of the box. So that'd be kind of like doing a C cleaner. So here it's going to tell us how it's going to format everything, which is perfectly fine. And now we have to pick our different locations and things like that. So again, we're going to pull this out. And just so I can set up my account information. And I am going to require my password to log in. And once it's done with this screen, then I will go back. All right. So now we are to the phase where we are simply copying files. So that is all it takes to get started. Now, once this is done, we are going to be able to pull this drive out and boot it up onto a system. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to let this run its course, and then we will come back and wrap this up. All right. All right, let's see. Oh, did I put that in there twice? I don't know. All right, Banana Man has finals on Friday. Then I can go home to the realm of the crapper net. There you go. Hello, Jonathan. Greetings to you. And here you mumble. I don't mumble a lot. No. Okay, you prefer encrypt the USB? I think that's a good idea if you lose it. Yes. Now, these never leave my house, but I still always encrypt it in case somebody breaks in and steals it or something. So always encrypt your USB drives if you are doing them, especially if there's any real data. In this case, this is like, the most real data that there is. Now, after we're done with this, I'll show you the steps that we're going to do. Just kind of show you on the live system. So, but I'll do the same thing off camera later. Hello, Sleepy. Greetings. Hello, long-time watcher. Normally working when I'm live. All right. Well, I am glad you were able to make it. VB extensions from the VirtualBox website. Yeah, I think you can actually get them. Some repos will have it in there as well. I just download it from there. I actually think I have a video about how to install those. Preference settings. Yeah, the display resolution and the in XFCE in a VirtualBox, at least my version of VirtualBox, does not like to work. But what I did find is I usually have that. I don't know why I forgot. Had the command right. I forgot the -S. All right, what do you guys think of Windows 10 May update? Windows 10 sucks now. Thank you, Ryan and Sleepy, for the tip to get that back up and running again. My Linux partition secure if my Windows 7 gets compromised? It really depends on what compromised your system. Generally, unless you have anything that would allow your Windows system to see the Linux drive, no. But if you do have something that will allow the Windows partition to see the system drive, then that could be a problem. My USB drive will be attached to the keychain. Yep. I have one. It is possible to read what is on it unless you do something special. All right. MS does not support ext4, but there are software in Windows which will allow you to read from the partition. Hello, Mr. Tracy Williamson from Ohio. How are you doing? We are waiting. If you just jumped on, we are waiting for the installation to finish, and then we will show you what I'm going to do rest of the drive here. All right. All right. So it's installing the system. Retrieving files. Where's my desktop view? There's my desktop view. There we are. So there's our current status. So it's retrieving the files, and then it will be installing the system. All right. Back, what we're going to do is I'm going to go back and talk about what we're going to do next while this is installing. So we're going to head on back. All right, so while this is installing, I'll go ahead and talk through the process, what I'm going to do with this USB drive when it's ready to go. So first thing is Peppermint has a few things on it that I'm not a huge fan of. Namely, if you go down into like your internet, you'll see it have things like Dropbox. In their Office, it has these. Now, these are not applications. These are ICE profiles that will go to these online sources. So if I were to click one of these, it just goes to the website to log into Microsoft to access Excel online. Now, all of these are managed under your ICE applications here. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to come into here when my drive is done, and I'm going to remove every one of these that's not important. I'll go ahead and keep the online user guide. Well, I don't need the online user guide. I'll keep the forum in case I need that. But we're going to go ahead and remove all of these guys. All right. So these are just going to remove them from the menu. These are those ICE applications. Since this operating system will do absolutely nothing except log into my banks and run my budget and do my books. So the first step I'm going to do is just remove all of those. Second, I'm going to create an ICE application for each of my banks. So if I were to do business with Bank of America, which I do not, then what I would want to do is, I need to go find what their login page is, because like I said, I don't use them. So if I do Bank of America, find them. Okay, so right there on Bank of America's homepage is where you log into their bank. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab this guy here, come back to my ICE applications, and then use Site Favicon and hit apply. Oh, make sure this is on the right spot. So, yeah, internet, why not? That sounds good to me. All right, so now if I go under internet, I'll see that I have a Bank of America location. Now, the reason we're going to use these systems here for this banking system is this creates, this ICE application will isolate everything I do on this with every other ICE application and the regular web browser. So any cookies that I need to use this online banking system are going to be available just for this website, but they will not carry over and show you anywhere else. So if all these guys are hiding Facebook on their page, and they probably are somewhere, look at that, Facebook will not be able to see that I have an account at Bank of America and an account at name other bank, PNC. So they won't be able to see those applications. They won't be able to make those direct connections based on the cookies alone. So we're going to create an ICE application for each of the individual banking systems that I want to use. If I remember correctly, I think I can add to desktop as well. So I can go ahead and add them to a desktop, or I can add them to a panel as well. So again, let's go right click, add to panel. So I can actually put all my banks down here. It kind of moved over here. So I can go ahead and create a panel with all of the banks that I need to access inside of here. Now, the other thing I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to install a few applications, which I'm not going to actually do, but just to show you how you do those, just come into here to Peppermint, grab the software manager. So you have a few different places to install software. Since I know exactly what I need, I'm just going to do it through Synaptic. Yeah, I don't need that showing up there. So the few applications I'm going to need is I need GNU Cache, which is something that I use for doing my business books. So I just want to install GNU Cache and anything I need for that. The other thing I need is LibreOffice. And I don't really need the entirety of LibreOffice, but I will need, I probably generally just use the spreadsheets, but I'll probably just go ahead and install the whole package anyway, just in case. So I'll just install LibreOffice. So GNU Cache, LibreOffice. I just need to make sure that we have some type of archive manager. That's preferably not a, yeah, there's an archive manager. And that's pretty much all I need. I don't need a lot more than that on my main system. I might do a password manager as well. So on Linux, I would do something like KeePass. See if KeePass is in here. So there's KeePass 2, KeePass X. I generally would use KeePass X as the one I generally prefer to use. So you can install those applications, get everything set up. So as soon as this guy is done, that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to All right, so what we've covered here on, oh, hold on, let me grab a new. All right, so what we've covered here is how to take a USB drive, how to install the operating system. We encrypted the operating system, and then I just kind of walk through briefly what I'm going to do. Like I said, I do this system for banks. Now, the first thing you want to keep in mind, use a USB 3 drive. You cannot do this with a USB 2 drive. It's going to be too slow. Need to use a USB 3 drive. Make sure you're doing it on a USB 3 port. Also, make sure that your computer can boot off of a USB drive. On a newer Mac, you have to enable that feature. Some Windows systems, you will also have to enable that feature. You might have to turn off Safe Boot or Secure Boot. And I always set it to look for USB drives and then hard drives. That way I don't have to mess around with going into the boot menu on BIOS. So just make sure that you're doing those basic things. Anytime you're installing a Linux distro to a USB drive, if there's anything sensitive on it at all, make sure that it is completely encrypted. And that's all there is to it. It will behave just like any other Linux distro. You can set it inside of any other computer and it should boot up just fine. So let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. All right, this guy's going to take a little bit more time to install, I believe. So, let's see. I feel I'm going to need to cut that thing up or maybe recut a few parts of it. I don't know. We'll figure it out. I'll look at my footage. All right. Been here, been subscribed since February. Well, welcome, Eris. Welcome, welcome. We need the kitty cam back. All right, let's. Where's my kitty? There you go. Oh, look at that kitty. Look at that kitty. All right. Oh, kitty, please leave my camera alone. Thank you. Appreciate that. All right. Favorite way to test out distros on the USB. Yep. I assume this will work the same regardless of distro. Generally, yes. The only distro you probably don't want to do is something based on Gen 2. Just because Gen 2 builds a system, like it builds a profile of that computer. You could do it, but it's not nearly as portable. This one here, I can use it on any of my computers, and it completely isolates banking from everything else that I do. And so that's why I do this. All right, let's see. All right. Oh, also, though, make sure that you pick a distro that you can easily encrypt so you're not fighting with encryption. Gail, hello. Just finished cleaning the kitty's heart-shaped spot. Is memorizing. Yes, the kitty has a heart-shaped spot. It's a heart-shaped box. Kurt Cobain was talking about my cat, really. Doesn't work well as Manjaro so far. Yeah, installs with first updates borked. I think I ran Manjaro on a USB drive at some point in time. Someone has Windows 10 EFI secure boot and keys generated with booting. You have to disable the secure boot to boot off of that, which, you know, that's why it's one of those funny things. You might be able to get around that, but I probably wouldn't try. 2 cats, do they shed a lot? Unfortunately, yes, they shed too much. Yes, I have to vacuum a lot. I have a major saving grace that every floor in this place is hardwood floors. Otherwise, I install USB and test distros a lot. Not to mention bringing my USB to work. Yep. Yeah, like I said, I've done it with... I've used Manjaro successfully with that. Right now, I'm running Arch Labs off of an external USB drive. So it's like it's a hard drive, not a flash drive, but it should be the same. Yes, ICE is available for Arch. Argo's really stable in my experience, using it for many months, never had it crash. Yeah, I got a notice that OBS kicked off for a second. Fortunately, it came back on. So, all right, we are still configuring hardware. Eris makes music on Linux. Very good. Very cool. What are you using? Are you using LMMS? Your comment wrong. I thought you like music on Linux. Yeah, there you go. What music player do you all use? For my laptop where I actually have stuff installed on it, and my mobile one, I actually use Banshee. For my media center stuff in Office, I actually just use Kodi because all of my for all of my non-traveling computers, I just access my all of my music from a central server. So Kodi does that best. Manjaro on my specific hardware. Yeah, every now and again. Ardor. Yeah, I was trying to get Ardor working on a friend's computer. We couldn't get it up and running, but LMMS worked well. So that's what we're using there. We are still configuring hardware. We got to finish configuring hardware before I do the next step here. Process different for installing to an external hard drive? No, it is the exact same process. The key part on this is to make sure that you know where you're installing it to. So you want to know, is your drive SDA, SDB, SDC? And then the reason I recommend just pulling all the hard drives or set up a machine like we did here, where there are no extra drives on it, is there's no confusion. It only installs one place. It ignores the boot drive and goes with whatever else is there. It assigns as SDA1, and you have the minimal issues. Now, one of the things with the Ubuntu installer, as far as I know, it does not allow you to pick the location where Grub installs to. Debian, I think Manjaro, several other, most other installers do allow you to pick that. So what that basically means is that if you do not have Grub installed on the USB drive itself, you will not be able to boot that off of any other computer because the record for it is on the hard drive in that computer, not on the USB drive. You need the BIOS to run the master boot record from the USB drive, not from the internal hard drive. And then when it runs the master boot record, it needs to be able to see its Grub entry. And so that's why you need to make sure that Grub is installed to the USB flash drive if you want it to boot off of other computers. Long time to get my particular NVIDIA CPU to work with Manjaro. Here in LC land, we always go for the underdog. There you go. Still configuring hardware. Let's see where we are at. Ooh, it is doing the kernel. We are kernel 418. Well, shall I minimize this and just go, or should I wait around for a little bit longer? I do have a couple other things I think I could talk about in the meantime. All right. I'm going to minimize that one for now. All right. Another thing we have going on right now is, I think the best way to do this. All right. So we'll just go ahead and do it this way here. I have a new book that I am putting out into the beta reader program right now. Now, I write Christian, so it may not be the topic that most of you guys, or that many of you guys may like. I don't know. But if you are interested or are curious about it, I do have a new book coming out, and I have the advanced reader copies available. So with my advanced reader copies, I'm going to be doing it like this way until I get enough people to assign it. So what we have going on here is you can grab a copy of the advanced reader copy ebook and read through that and get me your thoughts, your feedbacks. If you notice any glaring issues, let me know those types of things. We're collecting comments by June 1st. And anybody in the United States who gets me feedback back on June 1st will get a paperback copy of the book in addition to any digital formats you may want. Anybody who is international will get the digital copies, and if budget allows, I may be able to send some internationals as well. I just can't promise internationals to everybody because here in the United States, it costs, literally I have to chop off a couple of fingers to send stuff international because, you know, a little book seems to cost like $50 once it leaves the United States. system. It's actually like 23. But if anybody is interested in that, I'll post the link down here. And if you want to be up to date on my Christian writing stuff, go ahead and hit the subscribe button in the upper corner. There's 3 separate mailing lists. One is for book promotions, one is for what books are new, and one is for what books are in the advanced reader program. So if you are interested in the Christian topic. So this particular book is about holidays. We're talking about the origin of holidays. We're specifically looking at the popular faith-based holidays in the United States. So we look at New Year's, Valentine's Day, St. Patrick's Day, Easter, Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas, and we do an analysis of those with an eye towards how our holidays have been co-opted for consumerism and other things like that. So the book is 55,000 words in length, which is, I want to say it's about 200 pages, right around. It's like 187 pages on a standard 8.5 by 5.5. So if you want to grab a copy of that, you can just download the advanced reader copy there and get me feedback by June 1st. Paul, thank you very much for that super chat, my friend. Hopefully that tutorial was helpful for you. Jan, I want to say a big thank you. Really appreciate all your efforts. Why, thank you, sir. I apologize. I cannot pronounce your name. But thank you. Okay, I can't remember if VirtualBox will install to a guide partitioned. I don't know. Recognize the avatar. It's a puppy. What do you think of the avatar, Kitty? Do you like the puppy avatar? Well, he's really spying, but Google and Facebook are not. Yeah, I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. Gotta watch out, man. Huawei, they are allegedly spying on us. Never mind the piles and piles of evidence about Google and everyone else. All right. We are just waiting for Peppermint to finish installing over here. It's actually doing Grub right now. And then once that's done, then we're going to jump into topic 2. Late, but want to say hi. Hello, Paul. You're late for the first part, but the second one is yet underway. I'm just waiting for Peppermint to finish installing to this USB drive, and then we will be underway for... we'll then be underway for the next topic. Jaro Puppy, does he have a name? Meow. I think what we might do is we might just go ahead. I don't want to wait for this to finish up. I think we're just going to go ahead and move on to the next topic. That will require me to change my banners around a little bit too, won't it? Banners. All right. Welcome back to Switch to Linux. Well, folks, we would like to have a moment of silence for Antergos. Was a good distro. It is now officially ending. So Antergos, of course, this was based on Arch. It was kind of like if you imagine you have your pure Arch, you have your Manjaro, which is kind of like your Arch, but it's easy to install. And I have a cat that keeps moving my camera. Would you stop that? Thank you. And then you have Antergos, which is a little bit more advanced than Manjaro, not quite as advanced as Arch. And so for a while, Antergos was, it was a distro a lot of people really liked. They had They had a dedicated community behind it, although not necessarily a very large one. In its time, they said they had about over a million or so downloads, just about a million that they know of. But they released a blog post just yesterday that they are ending the project. So it kind of started as a hobby of a few people who are Arch enthusiasts who wanted to have a very good way of getting Arch installed. Now, that's actually a little funny because Antergos is one that a lot of people have actually had some problems with. I remember there was a Big Daddy Linux challenge. She was Antergos, and I remember like half of them weren't able to get it installed. Like, what? You know, and I had a few difficulty. It was kind of dependent on your hardware. I had a few lines of difficulty on some hardware, not all hardware, just some hardware. But they did announce that their project is ending. Mostly it's because there's 3 primary developers, and these guys have just come up with, life got in their way, and they just decided that they don't have the time to properly maintain it. And rather than Antergos just go off and just be, out there and not being downloaded, kind of left dying and decaying, they've just decided to end it, which is a much better way to go because we don't need more abandonware floating around. So what does this mean? If you are running Antergos, what this means, you won't have to wipe your system. What they're going to do is in a couple of months, they're going to have an update, and the update's going to go through and it's going to strip the Antergos repos and all the other stuff out so stuff doesn't break, and it's basically going to convert your Antergos into a straight Arch system. Anything that was specifically required that has an Arch user repository variant will be switched over to that. So they're going to do a really good job of shutting it down. And then their forums and wikis will continue to be remain active for about 3 months. They set up to about 3 months. So it is sad, but I really, really respect these gentlemen for how they're closing it out, that they're not just abandoning it. They've just come to the realization that, there's a point in time all Linux distros have to start, all Linux distros have to end. And they've come to this point where it's the end, and rather just leave it abandonware out there, they're actually closing it down well, which is a really great way to go. So what does this mean if you wanted to run something like Arch? Well, there are a lot of other options. Like we already said, Manjaro is a great way of running Arch. It has a few adjustments, a few changes. Definitely more user-friendly version of running Arch. The other thing to look at, though, what I've actually been running for about 2 months now, runs beautifully, is Arch Labs. And Arch Labs, if you're looking for a good installer for Arch right now, Arch Labs is definitely the way to go these days. A lot of different desktop environments. In fact, I have 3 on mine. I started it with GNOME, and I'm running Cinnamon most of the time, although I also have Deepin over there as well. So I have a variety of desktop environments if I want to switch it up a little bit like that. But as far as Antergos is concerned, you won't have to, it's not an emergency to wipe everything out. Definitely keep your data backed up just in case, but eventually they are going to run some updates. They are going to shut everything down. They're going to pull everything Antergos out of the system and convert your system for you into a basic Arch platform. So with that, I wish these developers well. The project was really nice while it lasted, and I really love the integrity by which they're shutting everything down, not leaving it abandoned, just doing it right. So that's definitely what the way you want to close down a distro. So moment of silence for Antergos, and we wish the developers the best of luck in their future endeavors. And that being said, if you are still looking for Arch, Arch Labs is great. Manjaro is great. There's a bunch of other ones. I think Arco Linux, I think it's called, is a very good up-and-coming Arch distro that I've been hearing a lot about. So those are directions that you can look into as well. So let me know what your thoughts about this. Do you use Antergos? Are you going to continue to use the Arch system or switch to something else? What are your thoughts about this? Let me know in the comments down below. I'll tell you what, I'm wondering if this USB 3 drive is actually a USB 3 drive, because Peppermint should not be taking this long to install. Absolutely should not be taking this long to install. All right, it's still going though. Alright, let's see. Videos, thanks for the hard work. Well, you are welcome, Bruce, and thank you for coming along. Name is Manjaro Puppy. There you go. They made Vaporwave. Now they need to make Abandon Wave. Saying the problem with Antergos installer was an indication they were having trouble maintaining it. Very possible. Yeah, I mean, I was able to get Antergos working once out of, I think I tried to install it a few different times, but there's 3 DEs installed out of the box. Take 5-10 minutes max to install Peppermint. Yeah. But then this is the thing, though, is that even the quality of that drive is garbage. Here is a 32 gig SanDisk drive from just a couple years ago. Has a case. Let me go to a bigger screen so you can see a little bit better. It has a nice plastic case. It's steel all around. It's solid. That one I just got it's like cheap garbage. So yeah, that's the way our world's going. Just turning everything into cheap garbage. Oh, kitty, don't go anywhere yet, kitty. We're gonna get you some foods. Let's go ahead and feed the kitty. Feed the kitty. Oh, feed the kitty. I don't have nothing in my hand, cat. It's all over here, yo. Oh boy. Let's do one more, because I'm not sure if you got that last one or not. There you go. Yeah, you're so munchy. You're so munchy. What do you think, kitty? You got your kitty treats? You gonna abandon us now? Gonna be abandonware? Abandonware? Nothing from Ubuntu, including Mint and Peppermint, would be available anymore tomorrow. Which distro would you switch to? Well, I mean, you know, we always have Linux Mint Debian Edition, right? You know, it's got to be, it wouldn't be an Arch-based system just because I cannot be having packages roll so much. Yeah, I mean, it would be something, I mean, you said Ubuntu based, so it would be something based on Debian. Either Debian or something based on Debian. I just can't have stuff rolling all the time, so that's the downside of the Arch system to me. Opinions on cryptocurrency. I don't have a lot of opinions on cryptocurrency, honestly. It's not something that I've actually dove into. Yeah, that drive it's running so slow. Huh. All right, I have 3 of those SanDisk USB fit drives for the specific purpose of distro testing. Yep. Whoever asked about what music player we use, Audacious for me. It's like Foobar 2000 on Windows, global hotkeys and lightweight. Very good. SanDisk was purchased by Western Digital. Guess they were only interested in their patent and flash memory, and now they are driving it to the ground. That's possible. Hello, Anna Rita. Greetings. Yeah, because I'll tell you that I have installed distros on numerous USBs. This same method. They have never been this slow unless I accidentally did it on a USB Type 2. And that was very specifically a USB 3. So if the thing doesn't have good performance, I'm taking it back and saying, you know what, guys? This ain't a USB Type 3. You know, it's a USB 2. So I'll do some speed testing on it. Because it's literally down here, and now it's possible that there's an issue with the virtual machine too. I usually don't install via virtual machine like this. I'll do tails like that, but that doesn't that doesn't take a lot. So yeah, it might be the virtual machine. So I'll test the drive after we're done with it. Hello, Skybear. Greetings to you. I wouldn't rely on some crappy drive for banking. Yeah, that makes me a little nervous. Like, I mean, the one I'm using right now is a SanDisk, and it's another one that's really good. Let's see what that one is. Yep, that one is also a SanDisk. This one's a 16 gigabyte one. Just nice, again, metal. The other, I mean, that new one's cheap plastic. That's kind of crazy. So what I might end up doing, I mean, I'm not super concerned because the data on that gets backed up every time it's turned on, which is, it doesn't collect a lot of data. Yeah. Where are we at? Yeah. I might just have to leave it up there. 2 a.m. here. I'm going to go for now. Yeah, we're about wrapped up. Go with Lexar and Kingston. Yeah, that's... I think I need to switch off a SanDisk. I've had good luck with SanDisks, but more recently, not so much. Not so much more recently. So, yeah, I'll do a speed test with the thing when it's done and see if it actually performs well. As long as the drive performs well. So, like, I'll do some solid testing before I actually migrate my data over there. And then we'll see. Thoughts on Kingston drives? Yeah, I've used SanDisk up to now, and for the most part, pretty good. But this last one I just bought was just cheap. It's cheap garbage. Lexar is a good brand, yeah. I think Lexar is what's in my camera. 3 old ones, now using them as Linux ISOs, yep. 2 terabyte external hard drive. Should I install Linux or use it for storage? Kind of depends on what you need. I have some of those I use for storage. If you don't have external storage at this point in time, definitely use it for storage. If you do have external storage, then use it for Linux distro. Thoughts on Alpine Linux? I don't know anything about Alpine Linux. Okay, let's see. Alpine Linux. Let's have a look at that. Security-oriented, lightweight Linux distribution. Huh, yeah, I'll have to look into it. Yeah, I don't know anything about it. No, it's not an issue with USB 2 or 3. Is your virtual machine making some issue? I think it works in 1X. Yeah, I do have the virtual machine set to run USB Type 3, but that doesn't mean it is. So I will be when we're done with the stream later on tonight. I'm going to boot the system with that, and then what we're going to do is I'll do everything I wanted to do, get the system set up, install the applications, and just go ahead and run it and see what it does, see how it behaves. As long as it behaves fine, then I'll use it. Choose one for good, Windows or Mac OS. See, here's the problem. I like Windows except the whole spying crap. If I were to be forced to run Windows, I just run a giant mass, constantly upgrading block on my network blocking all the Microsoft telemetry stuff. And I'd probably run Windows. Like Mac OS is more private, but I cannot stand the way a Mac works for work and development. Change the USB controller to HCI. I thought I did, but I don't know for sure. That would do it, though. I'm leaning towards the Issues virtual machine. Two Sanders micro SD cards, they work fine. But for one of them gets so hot, so I throw it away. No more SanDisk for me. Yeah. Yes. Have a good night, Estonia, yo. Hate to say it, being a former Windows user, but I'm not sure if I could deal with Windows. Yeah. How long did you have it connected to USB? Sometimes they tend to get warm, so it's cutting costs with no metal to absorb heat. That's another potential thing it could be. Yep. It's been attached for, I don't know, almost an hour now. We've been trying to install it, and literally, I mean, if you want to see where our progress is, this is our progress. And it has not moved for a while. In fact, it's been kind of stuck here for a while. 23:26. You can see the last timestamp is 23:26. It's now 23:34. This has not moved. So I might just need to abandon this, and I'll try and install it directly without going through the virtual machine and see if that works. So this is also the behavior that I've seen on USB Type 2s. So we're just going to go ahead and abandon ship, I think. So there's the grub. There's the... there's that. Let's just go ahead and kick this guy off. I'm going to see how warm it is. Give me a second. Yeah, it's not super warm. I'm USB X HCI. So my USB settings do appear to be correct, yes. Oh well. Smoke coming out of flash drive, nope. Do you think a sophisticated live system on SSD is possible? What do you mean by a sophisticated live system? Feet hurt, can't wait for my birthday, girl. Get an electric foot massager. There you go. Foot manager. It's a foot manager. I'm guessing that meant massager. SanDisk USB flash drive was hot, but no smoke. I got scared, and yeah. You know what, though? I don't know. I think I might need to... You know what? Here's what we're going to do with this drive. I'm going to plug her back in. Actually, we're going to do it over here. No, I need to move either way. So I'm going to plug it back into the port. Now I am 99.9% sure that that port, is a hold on a second. I'm 99% sure that that port is a USB Type 3, so it is actually unable to mount the encrypted portion of the drive. Unable to eject the drive. So I'm going to use the Linux Mint USB drive formatter and format the drive. And let's do a little speed test on it. Interesting. Despite I just formatted the drive, there is a remarkable amount of crap left on it. All right. So I'm going to grab a file here. Let's grab a big video file. Let's move a video file onto it. Yeah. Yeah, the drive is pretty much completely messed up at this point. That's exciting. I will have to clear it out directly with a different system later. All right, USBs. Yeah, unfortunately, that was a brand new one. I just cut it open on the beginning of the stream. Something does appear to be wrong with a USB drive. Yeah, it seems to not want to do anything. I can't copy to it. There's a bunch of things, despite running it through the formatter, and it said it formatted correctly. Let's format it as that. Let's format this. I'm going to try reformatting it into a different format. It says it was successfully formatted. But if I go into disks, there's my desktop view. If I go into disks, you can see, so we're stuck with this loop here. We got this guy here that will not delete. So I have ways of dealing with this. I just can't do it right now. I have to boot into a different operating system to handle that. So yeah, apparently that something wrong with the USB drive. If I can't get it working, it's going back to the store. So interesting. All right, let's see. One-minute latency between the chat and the video stream, yeah. Canon, cheap brand, I think. 4-drive, useless now, can't format or anything, yeah. Seems the quality of USB drives has gone down. Yep, yep, yep. 512 megabyte SanDisk Cruiser from 10 years ago. Useful as a rock now. There you go. Speed flash drive got hot. I was moving 65 gigabytes of data, so maybe that's why it got hot. Yep. Okay. Installed Mint on an external SSD. Runs like crap. Might try USB SanDisk drive. Same issue installing Mint on an external hard drive. That's why I asked if it was the same process. Yeah, it is. It's... Whoa. Apparently I'm throwing my mouse around. That might mean I need to go unplug the drive again. I don't know. I'll be right back. Alright. Killed a couple SD cards my time. Drive has a proprietary formatter. Had issues with Data Traveler 3.1 until I formatted it with their software. It shouldn't, but who knows? I'm going to try it over here. Okay, there's partition 1. Just have to make sure I know which drives are which on this one. There's that one, there's that one, there's that one. Delete. And you know, this is supposed to be a 32 gigabyte. They're skimping me. It's 31. All right, so Arch is able to format it. So we're going to go ahead and format it, and then I'm going to do a data transfer test. Like when the streams aren't overflowing with messages. Yep. Install Linux on USB memory. I'm using very old netbook, no hard drive, 1 USB, and ISO to second to install the distro. All right, so that says it installed. USB. All right, let's see. What do I have that's big over here? Ah, there we go. There's an audiobook. Let's go ahead and transfer an audiobook over there. See how long that takes. All right, so the thing just transferred. Properties. That's only 145 megabytes. I need something bigger. All right. What do I have that's big? Something big. Oh, wait, hold on. You are tiny. Video, all right. Properties. All right, so here's a 245. All right, so here's 400 megabytes of files. See how long it takes to transfer. Done. So I would declare, yeah, it's a USB 3 for sure. I mean, it's transferring data really fast. I think it was something wrong with the virtual machine, messed it up. My guess is if I use another drive, I'll be able to install the distro perfectly fine in a few seconds. All right, so I think that's where we're at. I think it's just a matter of the virtual machine went goofy. How to kill a USB drive live. There you go. Yep. When did you purchase it? No, it seems to be fine. I'm thinking it's a virtual machine. SSD connected to a USB 3 port. I am reasonably sure it's on a USB 3 port. I think there's only one USB 2 port on this computer, and that's where my microphone goes. The other one's on the back. Could be a bad ISO. No, I used the same ISO to install it on the virtual machine. Switch to Linux Mint. Still using Windows. Does anyone know if I can play Ring of Asylum? It's the only game keeping me from totally switching. I don't know. Anybody else know? Ply makes no sense. Just remember what happened 1 minute ago. There you go. Yeah. The quality of electronics is going down the toilet. Shame, it's a waste of money. Yeah, it's because we relied on other countries to make all of our stuff, and then we kicked them to the curb. What do they expect they're going to do? Yeah, saving money sometimes is a false economy. Yep. Actually, it isn't the quality of electronics. It's the business model of buying more and more and waste precious rare earth. Yeah. Bought a Mac one because they thought they wanted quality hardware, but since I discovered Linux and Louis Rossmann, never again. Yeah. No, Mac's not quality. They're just expensive. Go with the most expensive. They last longer than the cheap ones. Yeah. Mac is about the experience. I don't have a good experience on Mac, though. I don't know. Hello, Peabody. If that fails, do I get my super chat back? Hey, the process is sound. I'm not sure what the issue is. I think maybe what I'm going to do is I'll probably redo the tutorial. I'll redo the tutorial with the just with the externals. Or I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what I'll do. 3.0 ports are blue. Yeah. Well, not on my motherboard. On my motherboard, all of the ports match the red color that they want. Just kind of stupid, but they said the onboard ports I think are all USB 3. The only one is my front port because I know that's plugged into USB 2 port, and that's what it is. So that, okay, yeah, looking at the number of pins is something I was looking at, because when I looked down here, I'm only seeing 4 pins. But I actually think I see the other, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I do actually see the other 5 in there. So there are definitely 9 pins in this drive. Do admit aluminum shell does look beautiful. Yeah, actually my Dell, I have a Dell that's an aluminum shelled. Red equals USB 3.1, I think. It's possible they're 3.1. I'd have to check. If anybody wants to check, it's a MSI 350B gaming board is what I have in here. I'm pretty sure everything on the back are USB 3 or 3.1. Start streaming on Twitch soon. Apple is pretty trash. All right. Well, I've hit the bottom of the comments. We've already fed the cat. I don't know. I'm just debating if I want to redo the tutorial this time with, or maybe it'll work better if I'm not streaming. I don't know. I can put it in the confirmed USB 3 port at the front, but I'm pretty sure the port was fine. I would say if there was a problem anywhere, it was the virtual machine. So that's kind of my thought. So anyway, thanks for hanging out, everybody. We will be back tomorrow with a supporter stream. Vince, yes, we are going to use that one article you sent out. So we are definitely going to be looking into talking about what is it? Let's see. Internet data is rotting is what we will talk about tomorrow. So that'll be fun. All right, guys. Let's see. At the same time, better avoid stuff which is too cheap. IKEA table is real wood versus pressed wood. The first will last. The second will get a lot of holes within a year. 5-year-old laptop to my father since the laptop went bye-bye. Be 3 at least. Should see 4 in the front like normal and 5 in between and back. Yep. Yep. I'm pretty sure you're not going to be able to see it on the camera, but that is what we have in there. You can kind of see there the 4 on the front. Let me see if I can shine a light back there too. I highly doubt it, but yeah, if you shine the light back there, you can actually see all 9 ports. You should be able to see them there actually. So yeah, there are 9 ports on it. It is having the right number of ports. Doubt for me as long as I can. They only sell Intel plus NVIDIA. Then going out tonight, so hopefully I can wake up for the stream. All right. Well, we will catch you guys later, and I think Kitty wants to come and say a final goodbye.
Bye-bye, everybody. Thanks for coming along, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.
All right, guys. Catch you later.